Okay, now we'll come to question number 16. One more practice on clean price and dirty price. So please come to question number 16. Consider a bond with the following features. Face value rupees 1 lakh, coupon rate is 12%, payable underline semi-annually. Semi-annually means 2 times a year. The previous question was annually at the end of June and December. So the coupons will be paid on 30th June and 31st of December. The required rate of return is given to you 10% per annum. Then you have to do valuation on 1st October, that is important. Maturity date is 31st December 2018. Find the clean price on 1st October 2010. So this is 1st October 2010. Before this is 30th June. After this is 31st December 2010. So between two interest payment dates, we have to do the valuation of this bond. So first we'll calculate the clean price on this date, 31st December. Then we'll calculate dirty price on 31st of December. Then we are going to discount it. Bring it to 1st October. We'll get dirty price and remove the interest accrued. So count how many months are over since the last interest payment. July, August, September. This is just 1st October. So 3 months interest have accrued. Okay. And these bonds are going to get matured on 31st of December 2018. So we have to first find out how many coupons are still pending. Find out the present value of coupon and redemption value. This will give you a clean price on 31st of December. Add the interest due on 31st December 2010. Dirty price, present value will give you dirty price on 1st October. Okay, and then I am going to remove the interest of these 3 months. So this will give me clean price. So first I will help you by drawing a timeline. So write down, take a notebook, scale, pencil. First you write down the first date is 30th June 2010. 30th June 2010, what is the significance? It is the last interest payment date. It is the last interest payment date. Then 1st October 2010. 1st October 2010, what is the significance? The significance is, it is the valuation date. It is the valuation date. And then 31st December 2010, what is the significance of 31st December 2010? It is the next coupon payment date. It is the next coupon payment date. And then the 31st December 2018 is the maturity date. Is the maturity date. So how many more coupons are pending? It's a semi-annual coupon paying bond. So you count 2011, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. 8 years are pending. 8 into 2. So 16 more coupons will be received after this date. 16 more coupons will be received after this date. Next question is, what is the face value? 1 lakh. What is the coupon rate? 12%. So half of 12%, 6%. So that means you will receive 6,000 rupees every 6 months, 16 more times after this date. And plus remember, the 31st December 2010 coupon is also pending. So we'll get the dirty price here, we'll discount it and we'll remove the interest accrued for 3 months. Okay, on 31st December 2018, you will get 1 lakh rupees also. In addition to 6,000 rupees, you will get 1 lakh rupees also. So total cash flow will be 1 lakh 6,000. So first calculation will be here. On 31st December 2010, we will calculate the clean price, which means the present value of all future coupon and redemption value. After this date, you are going to receive 6,000 rupees 16 times. Okay, so therefore I will multiply by annuity factor of 16 period, and the discount rate is 10%. So I will divide it by 2, that is 5%. So calculate 6,000 into PV annuity factor 5%, comma 16 year, or you can write 16 periods, plus 1 lakh. This 1 lakh which you will get on 31/12/18, 1 lakh into same PV factor 5%, comma 16 year. So after writing this formula for calculating the clean price, let us calculate two things. First we'll calculate this annuity factor, and this will calculate present value factor. So take on your calculator 1 divide by 1.05. Those who have GT function, press equal to 16 times and then press GT function. So you will get a factor like this, 10.8378, plus those who don't have GT function, you can use equal to memory plus. 1 divided by 1.05 equal to memory plus 16 times. Then memory recall. Now come to the second part. 1 lakh into, calculate the present value factor for 5% and 16 periods. 1 divided by 1.05, press equal to 16 times. The 16th factor is 0.4581. So now you take the total of these two. So this gives you 1,10,836.80. That means if you have to buy this bond on 31st December 2010, okay, on X interest basis, then you will have to pay 1,10,836.80. But the coupon of this 31st December 2010 is also pending. So therefore, the value of this bond cum interest or dirty price on this date will be this amount and plus 6,000 rupees plus one more coupon, because this 31st December 2010 coupon is also pending. So write down step number 2, dirty price on 31st December 2010, dirty price on 31st December 2010. Take the previous answer, add one more coupon, 6,000. So total is 1,16,836.80. Is it right? This is dirty price. Now I am going to the previous slide to explain. So we are here right now and we have to move 3 months backward to get the value on 1st October. You got the dirty price on 31st December. So if you discount it, we will get the dirty price on 1st October 2010. Wait, this is a semi-annual problem. This is a problem of semi-annual coupon payment. So that means we have to use discount rate. Again, instead of 10%, I have to use 5% discount rate. And the number of years 3 divided by 12 into 2. Haji, 3 divided by 12 into 2 is how much? 3 by 6. So the number of years will also be multiplied by 2. The discount rate will be divided by 2. So my step number 3 will be, please come to step 3, I will explain again. Calculation of dirty price. Calculation of dirty price on 1st October 2010. So take the previous answer, divide by 1.05. Why we are taking 0.5? Because it's a semi-annual bond. So 10% will be divided by 2, 5%. And the power will be not 3 by 12. 3 by 12 into 2. 3 by 12 into 2. So that is how you get 3 by 6. Is it right? 3 by 12 into 2 will give you 3 by 6. It's a problem of 6 months. So 3 months divided by 6 months you can understand, or 3 by 12 into 2, whichever way you want to understand. If the problem is of annual payment, then it was 3 by 12. If the problem is of 6 months, it is 3 by 6 or 3 by 12 into 2. Now we'll simplify this. So 116836.80 divide by 1.05 to the power 1 by 2. Can I write this as 1 by 2 also? Yes, you can write this as 1 by 2. This 3 by 6 can be written as 1 by 2. Now 1 by 2 means you have to take the square root. So now today I am going to tell you a simple trick. If the power is 1 by 2 or if the power is 0.5, what you need to do, just take 1.05 and press square root once. Press square root once. Power 1 by 2 means we have to take the square root. So this will be on your calculator in just one step. Don't put extra efforts. 1.05 press square root. You can see this number on calculator, 1.024695. Now take on your calculator this number, divide by this, and you will get 1,14,021.05. Right? So this is your dirty price. This includes interest accrued for 3 months. This includes interest accrued for 3 months. So now my next step will be, I will remove the interest accrued for 3 months. So write down step number 4. Calculation of clean price. Calculation of clean price. Clean price equal to dirty price on 1st October 2010, which we have computed, less accrued interest for last 3 months. Less accrued interest for last 3 months. So that is equal to your previous answer minus this interest on face value. Interest will be calculated on face value. So face value is 1 lakh into 12% into 3 by 12, and that is 3,000 rupees. So the clean price on 1st October 2010 turns out to be 1,11,021.05. Right? So this is how we will solve. Now we'll do one more practice on semi-annual bond. Sometimes students find semi-annual bond a little difficult. So we'll have one more practice. This is question number 17, mark important. Similar questions were asked in the exam for 6 to 8 marks. Face value rupees 1,000. Consider a bond with following feature. Face value rupees 1,000. Coupon rate is 10%. Payable semi-annually. So we'll divide by 2. 5%. 5% of 1,000 means after every 6 months you will get 50 rupees. And this time also the coupons are going to be paid on 30th June and 31st of December. The required rate of return is 12% per annum. So this also I'll divide by 2. So my discounting factor will be based on 12 divided by 2, 6%. Valuation date is 1st March. And the maturity date is 31st December 2025. The question says find the clean price on 1st March 2018. Okay. What was the last interest payment date? Last interest payment date is 30th June. Sorry, valuation date is 1st March. So the last interest must have got paid on 31st December 2007. Next interest they are going to pay on 30th June 18. And we have to do valuation on 1st March 18. And this bond will mature on 31st December 25. So 2019, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, and this is December. So therefore we have to calculate how many more coupons are pending. Is it right? Discount that, you get clean price, add interest, you get dirty price, discount it, you get dirty price on 1st March, minus interest accrued for how many months? 2 months, and you get the clean price. So let us first draw this problem on a timeline. Write neatly, use your complete page, left hand side, from left corner till right corner, draw a straight line. First date to write here, 31st December 2017. What happened on this date? The last interest payment was made. Because this company pays interest on December and June, so this time the last interest already paid is 31st December 2017. So you write below bracket last interest payment date. Now we have to do the valuation of this bond on 1st March 18. So write here 1st March 2018 valuation date. 1st March 2018 valuation date. Then 30th June 18. 30th June 18 write down next interest payment date. Next interest payment date. The gap between last interest payment date and 1st March is 2 months. Write down here 2 months. And the gap between 1st March and 30th June is 4 months. Then write down in the corner 31st December 2015. So if you look at this question, how many more coupons are pending after this date? 7.5 years. 7.5 years means 15 coupons are pending. December 18, then 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 7 years. 7 into 2 plus December 18. 15 times you are going to receive 50 rupees coupon. 15 times you are going to receive rupees 50 coupon. And on maturity, you will also receive that 1000 rupees redemption value. So the clean price on 30th June 2018 will be based on next 15 coupons and 1000 rupees. Okay, so can we start now? Step 1 will be clean price on 30th June 2018. Clean price on 30th June 2018 is equal to 50 rupees coupon into PV annuity factor bracket 6% we will take. Discount rate is 12%, but for semi-annual bond we will take half, 6% into comma 15 plus 1000 is face value into PV factor 6% comma 15 years. So please solve this calculation. I'll give you 2 minutes, not 2 minutes, 30 seconds to try. So let us solve, check. are you getting 9.7122 plus 0.4173? Now just multiply these two and add it. Check the final answer. Are you getting 902.91? 902.91 is the clean price on 30th June. And you add the 6-month interest also to that number, you will get dirty price on 30th June. So write down next line. Step 2, dirty price on 30th June 2018. So that is equal to your clean price plus 6 months interest. So 952.91. 952.91. This includes interest. This does not include interest of 30th June. Now this number you will get on 30th June 2018. So we are here 30th June 2018. Discount it and bring it to 1st March 18. So the time is 4 months and the discount rate we'll use is 6%. So write down next line, step number 3, calculation of dirty price on 1st March 18. Calculation of dirty price on 1st March 2018 in bracket valuation date. Valuation date. So is equal to 952.91 upon 1.06 to the power 4 by 6. Now again understand, for those who want to understand this calculation, how this 0.06 has come. It is a semi-annual bond. So 12% divided by 2 will give you 6. And how this 4 by 6 has come? One way to understand is 4 months out of 6 months. That's it. Other way to understand is 4 by 12 months. And in a semi-annual bond, we multiply the number of years by 2. We multiply the number of years by 2. So 4 by 12 years multiplied by 2 will be used for semi-annual bond. So 2 and this 12, 6, 4 by 6. Okay. And then you solve it. 952.91 upon 1.06 to the power 0.6667. Now this you have to calculate now on your calculator. Are you ready with me? 1.06. Press square root 12 times. Minus 1 into 0.6666666666 plus 1 multiply equal to 12 times. So you will find this number on your calculator. I got the same number, 1.03690399610 something. So 3 or 4 or 5 digits are okay. Now if you solve it, 952.91 divided by this factor, you will get around 916.60 or 61. 916.60 or 61. So this includes interest accrued for 2 months. So what I'll do, I will remove the interest accrued for 2 months and I will get the clean price. So step number 4 would be calculation of clean price. Calculation of clean price. Clean price is equal to dirty price on 1st March minus accrued interest for last 2 months. Which 2 months? If you want to write, January and February 2018. January and February 2018. So the previous answer was 916.61 minus interest 1000 into 10% into 2 by 12. Now sometimes the student raise question on this 10%. They are saying that it is a 6 months problem. You only said, yes, I agree. Then why don't you take 5%? So if you want to take 5%, take 5%. But then you will have to multiply this by 2 by 6. You have to multiply this by 2 by 6. Okay. So finally, whether you present like this or you present like this, you are going to get the same result. Is it right? So I request you, either you follow this presentation for interest of 2 months, or you follow this presentation of interest for 2 months, you are going to get 16.67 only. So when you raise the question, you have to see whether my query is justified or not. So accordingly, if you are taking 10%, then take 12 months here, because it's simple interest, it won't make any difference. And if you are taking 5%, then take in the denominator 6 here. Same thing for previous problem also, if that query had come to your mind. So now my answer is 899.94. So this is the clean price of this bond. And one more question we are going to practice, where instead of months, days are given. So this is a different question. Basic concept will be same, but the question is asked in a different manner. So please come to question number 18, face value. Consider a bond with following features. Face value 100 rupees. Coupon rate 6% per annum. Payable semi-annually. Underline semi-annually. In the exam, just note these important things, because this will make a dent in your mark sheet if you don't read carefully. So 6% per annum means 3% for every 6 months. So 100 into 3, rupees 3 coupon is paid after every 6 months. Required rate of return is 7% per annum, which means 3.5% for 6 months. So our discounting factor will be based on 3.5%, and this time they are saying 1 year is equal to 360 days. The bond has 6 coupon payments remaining till maturity. So how many coupon are still pending? 6 coupon are pending. There are 80 days between. There are 80 days between settlement date and the next coupon payment date. This is settlement date. And this is your next coupon payment date. And this is, you can say, last coupon payment date. Okay. So this gap is 80 days. So this gap is 100 days, because it is a semi-annual bond. So half year means 180 days. 100 days are over, 80 days are pending. From the next coupon date, if I see, there are 5 more coupon pending and plus redemption value 100. So to calculate the clean price here, clean price, I have to take 5 coupons plus redemption value, and then I will add the coupon, this coupon. Total 6 coupons are pending, including the next settlement date, next coupon date. So out of 6, 5 will be paid in the future and 1 will be paid on the next coupon payment date. So I will add 3 rupees to your previous answer. That will give me dirty price. I will calculate present value of dirty price. I will reach here, and then I will deduct the interest accrued for 100 days. I will deduct interest accrued for 100 days, and that will give me the clean price of this bond. So to understand better, let us draw this diagram. In this problem, you see, actual dates are not mentioned. They have not mentioned year, month, date. Only they are giving you 80 days are left before the next coupon payment date. So write down, this is the last interest payment date. This is the settlement date. This is the next interest payment date. Between last interest payment date and settlement date, there are 100 days. So interest has accrued for 100 days. And between settlement date and next interest payment date, we have 80 days left. And total 6 coupons are pending, including this next interest payment date. Okay. So therefore, this is 1 coupon, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And this is the maturity date. On maturity date, you will receive 100 rupees face value and 3 rupees coupon. So please draw the diagram first neatly. Now if I have to calculate the clean price here, I will take the next 5 coupons. Total coupons are 6. Next 5 coupons plus 100 rupees will help me to reach the clean price. So step 1 we will write clean price on next coupon payment date is equal to 3 into PV annuity factor 3.5%, comma 5 years, 5 periods you can say. 3.5% you have understood, 7 by 2, plus 100 into PV factor 3.5%, comma 5. Is it right? So what you do, all of you, these are the 5 we are considering. Many times the student have asked this question, why we are not considering 6. Sixth one is this one, which I am going to use in the next step 2, right? So solve it properly. 3 into, check this factor, 1 divided by 1.035. Press equal to 5 times and then press GT function. You will get 4.51505, and then you take this one. Are you getting 0.84197? Now solve this and tell me what is your answer. So you are getting somewhere close to 97.74. Don't copy, please check. I am also checking. 97.74, yes, in 2 digits round off. Now we have reached there. Now we have reached the next interest payment date. Clean price is 97.74, and this coupon is also pending, so I will add that 3 rupees. So this will give me dirty price 100.74. You don't do this, you just write down in the notebook neatly. Don't write dirty. Write dirty price on the next coupon payment date. Handwriting should be clean, not dirty. So dirty price on the next coupon payment date will be 97.74 plus 3. So that is 100.74. So this is the total 6 coupons we have considered. 5 in case of clean price and this one in case of converting into dirty price. Step number 3 is a little tricky. So come to step 3, calculation of dirty price on settlement date. calculation of dirty price on settlement date into bracket valuation date take the dirty price on the next coupon date 100.74 divide by 1.035 to the power, it's a 6 months problem, so I will take 80 by 180, and if you want to take 80 by 360, then you have to multiply by 2. So finally you will get 80 by 180 only. So this is right. Go ahead. Simplify 80 by 180. Take your calculator. 80 by 180 is 0.4444. So 100.74 divided by 1.035 to the power 0.4444. Now solve this. So type 1.035 on your calculator, press square root 12 times, minus 1 into 0.444444 plus 1, then multiply equal to 12 times. You will get this number on your calculator 1.015406. Okay, and now take 100.74 divide by this number, you will get 99.21, 99.2114, something like this you are getting. This is the dirty price. It includes interest accrued for 100 days. So what we will do? We will remove the interest accrued for 100 days and we'll get clean price or X interest price. So clean price in bracket, write X interest price. So here write down the next step for clean price. Clean price equal to dirty price on 1st March minus accrued interest for 100 days. Minus accrued interest for 100 days. This is 99.21 dirty price minus 100 into 6% into 100 by 360. Again here some student will raise this query, I know. Why you have taken 6%? You should have taken 3%. So for the satisfaction of such student, I will write 3%. But then you have to also take 100 by 180. So effectively the answer will be same. You can either write this or you can write this. Those who want to write this or this, write down. Whatever helps you to understand better, write it. But finally the answer will be 1.67 only. And therefore the clean price is 99.21 minus 1.67 equal to 97.54. Is it right? So this type of questions are also asked in the exam. Our objective is to do lot of practice in the class only, maximum question, so that you will be able to write the exam confidently. So based on whatever we have discussed so far, the story so far is, so summary of what we have done in 8 points. First point, don't write, it's there. The price of the bond today should be equal to cash flows discounted with the required rate of return. It is also called intrinsic value. It is also called intrinsic value. 2. If the price of the bond is equal to face value, it means coupon rate and required rate of return are same. Very important tick mark. Coupon amount is equal to coupon rate into face value, and remember it is not the coupon rate into the price of the bond. And for coupon bond, also called straight bond, the intrinsic value is equal to what we did in the last 4 question, coupon amount into PV annuity factor given R and N plus redemption value into PV factor given R and N. For deep discount bond or zero coupon bond, the intrinsic value is equal to face value multiplied by PV factor for given R and N. For perpetual bond, intrinsic value is equal to annual coupon upon required rate of return. Clean price of the bond is dirty price, also called full price, minus accrued interest. So if in some books plus is printed, you make it minus. Okay, minus. And if you have to get dirty price, then it is clean price plus accrued interest. This is what we have discussed. The third part of this chapter deals with various types of yield. Out of this, in the exam, the two more common ones they are asking is yield to maturity or realized yield to maturity, and sometimes they also ask current yield, but we are also going to discuss other types of yield. So which are these types of yield we have to study now? Holding period yield, money market yield. In some exam they have also asked you bond equivalent yield. Mostly they ask you yield to maturity or realized yield to maturity or current yield, right? So one by one we'll take holding period return or holding period yield. In short, we will call it HPY, holding period yield. Now this is very easy. Now let us say you purchased a bond, okay, at the beginning of the year. When you purchase the bond, you purchased it for 104 rupees. At the end of the year, it was 108, and during this 1 year period or during this holding period, you got 6 rupees as coupon. Simple question, what is the rate of return you have earned? So you will say that I invested 104 rupees, the value of my bond became 108, plus I also received 6 rupees coupon. So I got 6 rupees coupon plus I got 4 rupees capital gain. You bought at 104 and now it is 108. So there is a 4 rupees appreciation, and then you had invested 104 rupees for this. So total you earned 10 rupees. Total you earned 10 on an investment of 104. So 10 divided by 104, it is 9.61%. So the holding period yield is 9.61%, as simple as this. 9.61% you are also getting. So let us now first read the total return received from holding an asset or a portfolio of asset over a period of time, generally expressed as a percentage. We want to note that during this period, when we were holding the asset or investment or bond or share, how much rate of return we have earned. The holding period return is calculated on the basis of total return from the asset or portfolio. Return consists of two things: income that you get. In case of bond, the income that you get is interest plus the change in value, and it is particularly useful for comparing returns between investments held for different periods of time. So the purpose is to use it for comparison purpose with different investment class. Now let us come to the formula. The formula for holding period return is income, that is whatever interest or dividend that you will get. In this chapter it will be income in the form of interest, coupon, plus in bracket end of the period value minus initial value divided by initial value. So what I have done in the previous question, if you remember, 6 rupees coupon plus 108 minus 104 divided by 104. So this gives me holding period return. Now your institute in one of the RTPs have asked this question. So 19 number question just printed below. We will solve there only. Very easy. A have purchased a bond at a price of rupees 800 with a coupon payment of 150 and sold it for rupees 1000. Very easy. He bought it for 800, sold it for 1000, 200 rupees capital gain. Plus 150 coupon also. So total 350 income plus capital gain. What is his holding period return? 350 divided by 800. 350 divided by 800 is the holding period return. Second question says, if the bond is sold for rupees 750 after receiving rupees 150 as coupon payment, then what is his holding period return? So in this case, what will happen? He bought it for 800. He sold it for 750. There is a loss of 50 rupees here, but he got 150 coupon. So 150 minus 50, 100 divided by 800. So that will give you holding period return. So let us present it neatly, cleanly, properly. Write down holding period return percentage is equal to I plus P1 minus P0 upon P0, where I is equal to interest, P1 is equal to price of the bond at the end of the year, P0 equal to price of the bond at the beginning of the year, price of the bond at the beginning of the year. After writing this, we will solve. First write down answer of part 1, answer A. Answer A, holding period return percentage equal to, in the numerator write, above the line write down 150 plus 1000 minus 800 upon 800 in the denominator. So 150 plus 200, 350 divided by 800, the final answer will be 43.75%. If suppose they change the question, then the answer will also change. Point number B write down, or answer of part 2. Again write holding period return percentage equal to, in the numerator write 150 plus in bracket 750 minus 800 upon 800. So this will be 150 minus 50, 100 divided by 800, 100 by 800, that is 12.5%. 12.5%. Now next is money market yield, MMY. The second type of return that we will calculate, second type of yield that we will calculate is money market yield. Now here what we will do, first I will tell you what do you mean by money market instrument. Money market instruments are usually having a maturity period of less than 12 months. So they are short term instruments. The maturity period sometimes can be 3 months or 6 months. So what I will do, in case of money market yield, first I will calculate the holding period yield. Now maybe you are holding the investment only for 3 months. So for 3 months if you get 3% return, for example, what is the annual return? What is the annual return? Why do we need to convert the holding period yield into its equivalent annual return? So that you can understand the return better, so that you can compare it with other instrument, right? So come to next paragraph, money market yield. The interest rate earned by investing in security with high liquidity and maturity of less than 1 year, such as certificate of deposit, treasury bill. These are short-term instruments. Certificate of deposit is issued by banks. Treasury bills are issued by governments. You can also mention their commercial paper. Commercial papers are issued by reputed corporate houses. So what I will do, suppose you are holding the certificate of deposit only for 3 months, calculate the holding period yield and then multiply by 12 by n. Multiply by 12 by n. So this will give you annualized return. Suppose you are holding for 70 days or 60 days or 80 days, then you can compute the annualized return by multiplying by 365 by n when days are given. Next is bond equivalent yield. We will take a problem after this bond equivalent yield, where I am going to solve money market yield also and bond equivalent yield also. So now you tick mark important concept called bond equivalent yield. First we will read, understand, interpret, discuss and then solve question. Bond market generally exhibits semi-annual feature. As you know, bond markets usually have semi-annual coupon feature. That is, there is a custom in the bond market. Custom means tradition or whatever has been developed over a period of time. So what happens in bond market? First they calculate the yield for 6 months. First they calculate the yield for 6 months. That is, what is the yield in a 6 months time period, and then they multiply by 2. First they will calculate the yield for a 6 month span and then multiply by 2. So that gives you annual yield, and therefore it is called bond equivalent yield, BEY. So how do you compute it? Bond equivalent yield will be equal to 1 plus holding period yield to the power 6 by n. 1 plus holding period yield to the power 6 by n will give you effective yield for 6 months. Effective yield for 6 months, okay, minus 1 you are doing just to calculate the percentage and then you are multiplying by 2. So that is called bond equivalent yield. Now with some number crunching only we will understand. So dear student, come to the next question below, 20 number. An investor purchased a bond at rupees 600 and sold it after 4 months at rupees 615 after receiving an interest of rupees 3. Calculate. Now there are 4 calculations, so this can be a 4 mark or 8 mark question. Holding period yield, bonus mark. Money market yield, another bonus mark. Effective annual yield, bonus, bonus, bonus. And bond equivalent yield, bonus to the power 4. So let us solve first answer of part 1. Holding period return. Holding period return, HPY, holding period yield. Formula. In the exam what we will do, we will first write the heading, formula, calculation, answer. 4 lines at least you should write. So the formula is income plus end of the period value minus initial value upon initial value. So all figures are available directly in the question. So next line equal to 3 plus in bracket 615 minus 600, correct? Divide by beginning price 600. Solve yourself. Multiply by. So the answer is 3%. So this 3% you have earned in a span of 4 months. 3% in 4 months. So what is the annual return? 4 months 3%, so 12 months would have been how much? So write down next answer to money market yield. Money market yield is easy. Holding period yield into 12 by n into 12 by n. 3% you have earned in a period of 4 months. So if you would have earned 3% in every 4 months, so in a year it would have been 9%. So 9% per annum. Then write down compounded every 4 months. Compounded every 4 months. So if I say 9% per annum compounded every 4 months, it means you are earning 3%, 9 divided by 3, 3% every 4 months. It means you are earning 3% every 4 months. This is called money market yield. Now the next question is effective annual yield. What is the meaning of effective annual yield? Effective annual yield means, suppose it is a problem of 4 months, you have earned 3% in one period. 3% you have earned in 4 months. So if you have 100 rupees here, 100 rupees after 4 months will become 103. Again you will earn 3% in this period also. So after 8 months, your 103 will become how much? Plus 3%, 106.09. And again after 12 months, it would have earned 3%. So it will become 109.2727. So 100 rupees after 12 months with this return 3% every 4 months would become 109.2727. So effectively it is equivalent to earning a return of 9.27% per annum annual compounding. Earning 9% per annum compounding every 4 months is equivalent to earning 9.27% per annum annual compounding. So that is what is called effective annual yield. Okay, this effective interest formula we have studied in time value of money also. Okay, so the same formula we are using again today. So write down effective annual yield is equal to 1 plus HPY to the power 12 by n minus 1. 1 plus 0.03 to the power 12 by 4. So 4 months, 4 months, 4 months. So 3 times this compounding will be done, and you deduct minus 1, assuming you have 1 rupee at the beginning. So remove that 1 rupees, the difference gives you interest on 1 rupee. In the diagram below, I have taken 100 rupees for understanding. Now you multiply by 100%. So this will give you 9.27% per annum compounded annually. 9% per annum compounding every 4 months is equivalent to 9.27% per annum compounded annually. Okay, let us go to next heading, bond equivalent yield. Next line, bond equivalent yield, BEY. Bond equivalent yield is equal to, first you draw this big bracket, 1 plus HPY. First we will calculate the effective yield for 6 months to the power 6 by n minus 1. What you have written in bracket will give you effective yield for 6 months multiplied by 2 will give you annual yield. So write down the numbers like this, 1 plus 0.03 to the power 6 by 4 minus 1 bracket close into 2. So simplify 1.03 to the power 1.5 to the power 1.5 minus 1 bracket close into 2. So please solve. Solve. Now you will wonder how to solve this one, already discussed with you. If the power is in fraction, first type this number 1.03. Type this number 1.03, press square root 12 times, minus 1 multiplied by 1.5 plus 1 multiply equal to 12 times, you will get some factor minus 1, this minus 1, and then you multiply by 2. So whatever is inside the bracket, the value of this is 4.53. So it comes to 9.06% per annum, but this time you will write compounded semi-annually, because we have first computed for 6 months, then multiplied by 2. So it will be written as compounded semi-annually. Compounded semi-annually. Okay. Now one more similar question we are going to solve. So while writing the final answer also you have to be careful. If you are using money market yield, then you have to say 9% per annum compounded every 4 months. Effective yield you will say 9.27% per annum annual compounding, and for bond equivalent yield you will say 9.06% per annum compounded semi-annually. Next question number 21, I will make you do one more practice. An investor purchased a bond at rupees 347 and sold it after 1 month at 343.20. After receiving an interest of rupees 0.70, calculate HPY, MMY, EAY, BEY. Now this is a problem of 1 month, and in this problem there is going to be capital loss. So purposefully I have taken a different problem now, where you can have losses also. So don't worry, you can solve a problem of loss in the same way as you solve the problem of profit. So please write point 1, holding period yield. Holding period yield is equal to income plus end of the period value minus initial value divided by initial value. Solve. HPY equal to, keep question in front of you, 0.70 plus bracket 343.20 minus 347 upon 347 into 100 to get percentage. Solve and give me the answer. Solve and give me the answer. So the answer will be negative, possibly. Yes. So this holding period yield we will write minus 0.89% for 1 month. Minus 0.89% for 1 month. This is how holding period yield. If you hold it for 1 month, you will get 0.85% negative return. So money market yield, what it will do? It will say for 1 month you get 0.89% negative return. So for 12 months you will multiply by 12. So therefore you write down money market yield money market yield will be equal to holding period yield into 12 by n. Holding period yield is 0.89 negative into 12. So that you will write like this, again practice, minus 10.68% per annum compounded monthly, because you are dividing. If I divide this by 12, it will give me 1 month interest. So that I will call compounded monthly. Okay. Next, effective annual yield. If 0.89 you earn every month, what will be your effective annual yield? What will be your effective annual yield? So write down the formula first. Effective annual yield is equal to bracket 1 plus HPY to the power 12 by n bracket close minus 1. Put the numbers 1. Now this plus will become minus because the return is negative. 0.89% will be written as 0.0089. If you have doubt what you do, take 0.89 and divide by 100. So on your calculator you will see 0.0089. And because it's a negative return, you write minus here. No problem. To the power 12 by n. It's a 1 month problem. So write to the power 12 by 1 bracket close minus 1. So please solve this. First on your calculator, you take 1 minus 0.0089. After taking that 1 minus 0.0089, you take the power 12 into and equal to 11 times and then minus 1. Okay. So your calculator is showing 10.17%. Multiply by 100 minus 10.17% per annum. Now because you have taken effective yield per annum, you will say compounded annually. Negative 10.17% per annum compounded annually. And now the next one is bond equivalent yield. So in bond equivalent yield, what we'll do? First we'll calculate the effective yield for 6 months and then multiply by 2. So write down the formula. Bond equivalent yield is equal to 1 plus HPY to the power 6 by n minus 1 bracket close into 2. So that is equal to, in bracket, 1 minus 0.0089 to the power 6 by 1. So this will give you 6 monthly return. Then minus 1 means you get the interest for 6 months, and then into 2 gives you annual value. So take on your calculator once again, dear student. 1 minus 0.089 equal to, you are getting 0.9911 into power is 6, press equal to 5 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then minus 1 and then into 2 is equal to, so you will get something like 10.445% negative per annum. And how do you present it? Compounded semi-annually, because you have multiplied by 2, compounded semi-annually. Compounded semi-annually. So these were 2 questions on HPY, MMY, EAY, BEY. These are less frequently asked in the exam, but the more frequent question is yield to maturity. One of the most important concepts of this chapter now, YTM. What is yield to maturity? It is the rate of return. The moment the word yield comes means rate of return that an investor expects if the bond is held till maturity. Rate of return that an investor expects if the bond is held till maturity, and this is also known as IRR, that is internal rate of return. Suppose it says you purchased a bond for 105 rupees today, and this bond pays you 10 rupees coupon. Let us say 10 rupees coupon you get 5 times, and on maturity you will get 100 rupees only. So this is your outflow as an investor in year 0, and these are your inflows in the next 5 years. This is also year 5, this is also year 5. So basically you have to find out what is that rate of discount at which present value of future cash inflow is equal to the present value of amount invested today, that is outflow 105. This is what we used to call in capital budgeting IRR, internal rate of return. Now, internal rate of return is that discount rate at which the present value of future cash inflow is equal to present value of cash outflow. It means if you hold the bond till maturity, then what is the rate of return you are expected to earn based on the cost of the investment and based on the future cash flow? How much rate of return you are going to generate if you hold it till maturity, and that is called yield to maturity. How to calculate yield to maturity? First is coupon bond. If it is a coupon bond, then you can apply a formula. But this formula underline or mark there is only applicable for coupon bonds. This formula cannot be used for perpetual bond, zero coupon bond, or self-amortizing bond. So the formula is printed in your book: C into 1 minus T plus RV minus CP upon years to maturity upon RV plus CP by 2. So you will recollect this formula. Okay, this formula you have I think used in one more chapter before this, or in your intermediate FM also. Yes, recollect, where have you used this formula? So this formula you have used for calculating the cost of debenture. This is also debenture only. A bond is a debenture issued by a private sector company. Now what are these terms? C stands for coupon, T stands for tax rate. Now I will tell you, in case if tax rate is not given, then don't write 1 minus T. But if tax rate is given, and if they want you to compute after tax yield, then you multiply by 1 minus T. If you are a bond holder, if you have to pay tax on interest, your income will reduce to the extent of tax paid. So it's C into 1 minus T. If you are a company, you get tax shield on interest, and therefore your interest cost will reduce to the extent of tax saved. And this already I have explained in the time value of money and cost of capital chapter. RV means redemption value. If the problem is silent about redemption value, what will you assume? Par. And this CP means current market price, which will be given to you in the problem because that is needed to solve. Divide by years to maturity. As I said, we are talking about a coupon bond which will pay a fixed coupon every period and will be redeemed on maturity. Divide by average of CP plus RV by 2. Now some important point write down on the right hand side. In your book only write down, or in your notebook write down, what are the important points about this formula. First point, I have told you This formula is to be used only for coupon bonds. That means either semi-annual bond, annual bond is okay, but not for other types of bond, not for those bonds where you don't get coupon every year and then redemption only on maturity. In other cases, other methods will be used to find out the YTM. Second point, write down. This formula gives approximate right answer. This formula gives approximate right answer, comma, not accurate answer. Not accurate answer, because it ignores time value of money. Because it ignores time value of money. Now I will explain this point right now. Go back to the formula. This is the formula. What you are doing in this formula, you are taking RV minus CP divided by N. Now just imagine redemption will take place after 20 years. So you are taking up cash flow of 20 years down the line. Current price is today. Current price is today. And what you are doing? You are just deducting a cash flow of today with a cash flow which will take place after 20 years and dividing by number of years. So are you not violating time value of money here? Because comparing two numbers, one which is today, the second which may be after 20 years, and then just taking the difference and dividing by N, means there is a serious violation of time value of money. And similarly, if you look at the denominator also, here also we are taking average of your coupon and redemption value. This redemption value may occur after 20 years. This may occur today, and therefore if I also take into account the time value of money, then that is ignored here. So this formula ignores time value of money to some extent, and that is why it will not give you accurate answer, but yes, approximate right answer. Now the student will ask, can I use this formula in the exam if it doesn't give me accurate answer? Yes, you can. If it is a coupon bond, the institute allows you to apply this formula. Okay. So have you noted down these 2 points? Now there is a small example printed there. So don't solve in the notebook, it is already printed in the book. Just understand how to apply this formula. Suppose an investor is considering the purchase of a 5-year ₹1,000 bond bearing a coupon rate of 7%, and the current market price of the bond is ₹960. Then what would be the investor's required rate of return? Now you see some important numbers. 5-year, 1,000 is face value, coupon rate is 7%, means 7% of 1,000, 7% of 1,000 will be 70, and the current market price is 960. If you want to buy this bond today, this is the current price CP. What would be the investor's required rate of return, or the YTM, or YTM. So if you purchase this bond for 960 and this bond keeps paying you 70 rupees for a 5-year and you get 1,000 rupees on maturity, what is the rate of return you are expected to earn? So first we will write the formula which is already printed in the book. Then we will solve. Do we have tax in this problem? No. So I will only write coupon. So one cost or one benefit associated with investment in the bond is coupon. In this example, there is one more benefit associated. You buy the bond for 960, but you get 1,000 rupees. So you get 40 rupees more than what you invested. So that will also add to your return. that will also increase your rate of return, because by investing 960, if I am getting 1040 rupees more, and this is a 5-year bond, so it is as good as getting 8 rupees per annum extra. So that also will increase my rate of return. And then I will divide by average of 960 and 1000. Why we take average? Because this is the amount on an average invested in the bond. This is the amount on an average which remained invested in the bond. Divide by 2. By mistake I have written 1000. So write 2 and solve. So if you solve, finally you will get close to 8% approximately. Is it right? If you are getting 7.96 or something, you can just write 8% approximately. So look at this formula. On one income is 70 rupees every year, plus you are getting 8 rupees per annum because of the difference between the redemption value and the net proceed, and this is the average amount which remained invested. So I will tell you a brief logic of why do we take average of 960 and 1000. The investor had invested 960 rupees. Company will pay him 1000 rupees on maturity. 1000 divided by 960 divided by 4. 1000 minus 960 divided by 5, 8 rupees. So 8 rupees was not paid to the investor after year 1. This 8 rupees remained with the company. Company says, let it be with me. I will give you on maturity. So I said, okay. So which means now my money invested with the company is 968, because that 8 rupees remained with the company. Again 8 next year. So it will become 960, 8 plus 8, 974, plus 8, 982, plus 8, 990. Some mistake. Okay, this is 96, 976. So this will be 84, then 992, and last is 1000. So if you take average of these numbers, they will give you same average which you will get by just taking the end to end number 960 and 1000. You can try. So that is why instead of writing all these numbers, we will say average amount which remained invested in the bond is the average of 960 and 1000. Otherwise, truly speaking, you have to write all these numbers. And now visualize a problem which has 25 years. Are you going to write all 25 numbers in the denominator? No. If you are getting the same answer, it is better simplify. And as it is, this is an approximate answer. So this was my question number. This was my example. Now I am going to practice one question today. Immediately one more question. A 5-year bond with 8% coupon rate and maturity value of rupees 1000. Same problem, only figures are different, is currently selling at 925. Compute yield to maturity. So what you have to do in the exam, you have to present your answer neatly like this. First you write down formula, write in the book or in your notebook. YTM is equal to, do we have tax? No. C plus, only C plus. 1 minus T you will use when there is tax. I will take taxation based question also. Plus FV. Sir, what is FV? Face value. So the meaning of these terms you will write below in this problem. In subsequent problem you are exempted from writing these terms. But in the exam you must write minus CP upon N upon FV plus CP by 2. In the exam, if you are using the term FV, then write face value, or RV, then write redemption value. In this question, face value and redemption value are equal, so doesn't matter. C is coupon, FV is face value, CP is current price of the bond, N is number of years. So this is an annual coupon paying bond. Next line write down, therefore YTM is equal to 80 plus in bracket 1000 minus 925 divide by 5 upon 1000 plus 925 divide by 2. Now here lies your intelligence and accuracy to solve it. After you solve it, just check the final answer. Is it 9.87%? Yes. When you are using the formula, you should write approximately. You should write approximately. Okay. Now we will take a break.